So today we're working on the 2017 WRX. We're gonna be doing engine coolant temperature sensor. We're gonna be measuring some stuff on that, and then we're gonna be measuring the throttle position sensor as well. So right now we have it set up to read the voltage at our engine coolant temperature sensor, which is down there. And we have a scan tool hooked up to the vehicle. And just like a little side note we'd like to add, we do have the engine coolant temperature sensor unhooked. And when you go in and start the key on, you actually notice that the failsafe kicks on and the fans do actually turn on just to prevent the engine from overheating had it been on. And with the coolant temperature sensor unplugged, it is reading -40 degrees. And then our ambient temp, our intake air temperature, which is also being ambient temp as of right now, is gonna be about 75, 77 degrees. So before starting the vehicle, we have our test probes plugged into the ETC sensor with resistance. It's showing about 2.5 kilo ohms. And looking at the temperature resistance chart, that would show it'd be between these two values here, showing that at least inside the engine bay, it should be, the sensor's reading about 80 degrees, which would line up to what we're observing. And then with the sensor plugged in, back probed into it, we're getting about 2.7 volts while the vehicle is off. And now we're gonna go ahead and start it and then get some readings off of the scan tool.
Okay, so we got a back probe to the connector. We're taking some live data. The car's currently on. So right now, it's as the temperature increases, the resistance should go down. That's what we're seeing right now. And then we're gonna check if this is a dual range sensor. And if it's like that, we'll see the voltage spike. So being based on the needle gauge right here, we can see that it's on normal operating conditions, being based on the gauge. And then we just come and see right here. You can see that it is around 152 degrees, and it's still going down. So we'll see. We'll just wait a little bit more and see if we see a voltage spike. All right, so after around 10 minutes to 15 minutes of just trying to warm it up, we are, as you can see, it's at 181 for the temperature, and it's still dropping 1.1.
We're just gonna call it here because it's been an operating temp for a while now. We're just gonna call it here and say that it is gonna be a single stage system. Now that the vehicle's at operating temperature, we probe the coolant temperature sensor again to read the resistance, and it's sitting about 285 ohms. And if we come over to our sheet here, about 280, about around that 200 range would mean that it's about 170-ish degrees, which, as we just said, which as we just showed in the previous section, is true. So that all lines up properly. All right, now moving on to the throttle position sensor lab. We're doing it on the 2006 Dodge Grand Caravan because we needed a vehicle with a cable-driven throttle. So in here we have our throttle position sensor back there where those probes are, and then we back probed the sensor, and we will be getting measurements from both the 5-volt reference and the constant power while adjusting the throttle position.
Okay, so we got our sensor back probed. So as you can see, right now it is at 0.5 volts, just like how the PowerPoints would show when it's closed. And then the more you open it up, so it's being open right there, it would increase. And then it will max out at 3.74 volts. We'll let it go off again to close, and it will reach 0.5. So it's never going to reach below 0.5 volts, and it's not going to pass a maximum of 3.74 volts. Okay, so right now we're recreating a scenario if, like, for example, there was an open on the sensor, so we just, in this case, we just disconnected it, but still back probed it on the signal wire. And so we have 4.79, and for more that, you know, you open it, it's still gonna be 4.79.
So we have our picoscope set up to do a voltage sweep test. We have the ground connected to the battery, and the power is connected to that power supply. As you can see, initially, while the throttle is closed, it's hitting about half a volt, and then as it opens up,
That's better than just to your health.
you'll see that it'll slowly increase as it's open, maxing out about 3.7 volts, leading toward delta, or the difference between the top and the bottom, being about 3.155 volts. To wrap it up, doing our throttle position sensor testing. We just have a small list of codes that can be thrown with an error. We get a P0122 through 124, being that the input to the sensor is either too low, too high, or it is inconsistent, causing the vehicle to throw a code. That's